Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the Triple Dub podcast. How you guys doing?
Good.
Woo! Excited.
Almost
We're back. Yes, and we want to start off this episode just thanking all of you for listening, for subscribing, for retweeting, for following, for liking, for referring, for all of that. We are just so grateful and we are so happy with all of the feedback that we've gotten so far. And we just are really excited for what's to come. You know, we've been talking about this for a long time. So just to get all of the reactions back, it feels really good, right?
Yeah.
So thankful.
Yeah, blown away by the support.
Yes.
On episode 1. So I
right.
Episode.
It can only go up, so we're happy.
Absolutely.
We have so much more for you guys to look forward to. And so, of course, with every episode, we started off with our drink of the night, our toast of the night, and a song that we are adding to our Triple Dub podcast playlist on Spotify. So, hey everyone again, this is Bree, and my drink for the night is eggnog spiked with Remy Martin.
Ooh.
I want to go to Bree's house.
That's a good Remy.
So thank you.
Yes.
My song for that I'm adding to the playlist is called Better Safe Than Social by The Last Artful Dogger. And I chose this song to close out 2020 because in the song he's saying, I feel safe on my own, in my place, all alone, better this way. And if everybody would have just been on their own and not tried to be so social, maybe COVID would be gone by now. But, now we have to go into 2021 with still COVID around. But, we're just going to pray for the best for 2021. Yeah. But that's my song and my drink of the night. Carita?
Yeah, well, I'm Carita. Hello again. My drink of the night is not as fancy as Bree's, but I have a nice glass of white wine. It's called Lemon Squeezy. And shout out to my aunt because for Christmas, she got me a wine subscription. So I get to try all these wines. So you're going to be hearing a lot of wines from me.
Yes.
As far as my song, I chose Hit Different by SZA and Ty Dolla $ign. I don't have a real good explanation. I just love the vibe of that song. And, it's a male, female perspective. And they're like, it hits different when you're with somebody else, which is true. Because, sometimes people like to take advantage of our presence. So love that song. And it's a good vibe to head into 2021. Candi?
Who's next? Am I next? Oh. So listen, happy holidays, everybody. With that being said, I'm drinking my favorite holiday beverage, which is Winter Jack by Jack Daniels.
Very nice.
I wanted to check it out because it was in a nice, pretty bottle. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Literally, you can just warm it up and put a cinnamon stick in it.
Ooh.
It's
I like that.
Lovely. Seriously.
Nice.
It's really, really good.
How do you warm it up though?
I put it in my mug and right in the microwave or in a pot, And then when I use your spiked cider recipe, Carita, yes.
Yes, I put that in
another show.
Or the microwave. Go ahead to your song.
But yes, so my song that I'm vibing to right now is Snow Allegra, Whoa. And similar to Carita, no real explanation for me either, other than it's just a great vibe. Every time it comes on the radio, I'm like, yes, it is my song. So that's my song and my drink.
Awesome. Well, save the best for last, obviously. Today I am drinking some London United wine from Leesburg, Virginia. And it is a Chardonnay, of course. Have to start. White wines are my favorite. But I do want to start drinking red wines more, but I don't know. I've always gravitated towards white wine. And my song is Wolves by Big Sean and Post Malone. I picked that song because, first of all, I was waiting like years for Big Sean to come out with a new album. I think we all were. Like every song, every album he's had, like every song is like at least like halfway decent. You know what I mean? Like, you know how some albums you skip, like I don't need to skip anything on his albums. So the reason why I chose this, not really in detail, but you know, it's just kind of like I'm independent, you know, I don't care who tries to like throw me in the fire. Like I was raised by wolves, like I'm good. So cheers to Big Sean. Thank you for the bangers. You know, we always appreciate them. Hopefully you'll come out with more albums faster. So
Yes, speaking of that, everybody, cheers.
Yes,
Cheers.
cheers. I'm so excited to get into this discussion.
Yes, episode 2. And, you know, keeping the good vibes going, I had to bring my sage because as we go into 2021, we want only positive energy to bring us into. I'm not going to light it right now because, you know, but shout out to our guy, Kyrie, who, as we all know, is the expert sager.
A little dab. He can sage and dab at the same time. Love it.
He's great.
Yes. So shout out to Kyrie and keeping the positive energy going.
Look, I was like taking a note out of Kyrie's page. The Wizards need some good vibes and some
gosh. Woo, don't they?
We're jumping right into the conversation about our Washington Wizards. They are off to a very unimpressive 0-3 start. Ooh, that hurts.
It hurts.
It does hurt.
It hurts so bad.
Especially being so close. Oh,
gosh.
Look, so listen, we already know the obvious. Things aren't going well right now. So we decided to take a different turn and focus on what is going well. So we're going to wait on the conversation of what's going wrong. And to start this off, we're going to talk about what's going right. So what I want to mention in terms of what's going right with the Wizards right now is Bradley Beal. BB3. Oh, jump man, he doing well. He's in all NBA form right now. And loving it. I don't know how he's going to hold up all season. But for right now, that is one of the things that I'm delighted to see. It's going right. So shout out to Bradley Beal. I'm going to turn it over to Becca. What do you think is going right for the Wizards?
Well, that's hard to come up with. It's easier to come up with the things that are going bad, right? But to piggyback off of you, Bradley Beal had 2 back-to-back games where he had over 30 points. And then the one yesterday, he had 29 points. So the first game, I believe it was 30, and then it was 39, and then it was 29. So that's awesome. To add to what's another thing that's going right is certainly, I'm going to say Russell Westbrook. I know he did have a difficult game on Saturday. However, both games that he did play in, he had triple doubles, which is phenomenal because that just shows that he really has the ability to play both ends of the floor. He has the ability to contribute in all sorts of ways, you know, rebound, assist, points, you name it. And honestly, when I was watching, like I kind of, you know, we watch him not as frequently, but now that he's on the team, we're watching him a lot. And he just kind of, the way he gets rebounds and he just chases after things and like he sees things before everybody else does. So, I mean, Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook, and I don't know what else we can come up with.
It's got to be something else. Carita, what's going right for you right now when you're watching the Wizards?
I absolutely agree with you both. And I think I can come up with something else. How Nato, I mean, he was an addition in the offseason. And he started in place of Russell Wilson. I'm sorry, I meant to buy football. Russell Westbrook. Oh my gosh, forgive me. I don't know what you guys. I'm NFL and NBA. But anyway, he started for Russell Westbrook, and he had 22 points last night. He was 10 for 17 in shooting. Also, the previous night, because it was a back-to-back, he had 11 points off the bench, and he was perfect. He was 4-4 in his shooting. So he's really, in my opinion, been a great addition. He's not scared, and he, in my opinion, did a great job filling in for Russell Westbrook, folks. Russell Westbrook.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
We agree.
Yeah.
Missing him the second game. I was like, where is he in the second
Right.
game? But yeah,
Right.
with all that.
100%.
By
That's
the
what people
way,
wanted more of him, so I'm glad
22 points is his career high. So he had a pretty good game for, himself. So hopefully, I think he should move up in the bench rotation as far as he might pass Ish Smith. I hate to say it, but I mean,
think that they did say
like that.
I mean, that's a good point. It's possible because Ish has
Already starting.
Ish has been up and down in his starts off the bench, so we'll have to see how that works out. But right now, he's definitely giving Ish a run for his money.
Absolutely. Now, Bree, we're coming to you now. What do you think is going right?
Yes. Going off of the players that are stepping up, Rui, it's not really, I don't know if it is his fault or not, why he's not playing right now, but he has pink eye, so he can't be on the floor. But the Wizards have extended him and Troy Brown, so I think that's an amazing effort from the Wizards side, putting faith and pride behind these two players and just letting them know, like, no, we believe in you, we want you here. And I know that Troy Brown is stepping up. He's taking accountability. He's learning. He's asking questions. We see him a lot talking to Russell Westbrook, talking to Brad over the years, and just really absorbing everything that he can. And so to be able to see him now go out there and really put it on the floor is great too. And Rui, of course, we haven't got a chance to see him play in the regular season so far, but we can only look forward to seeing that. I can only imagine him, Brad, and Westbrook out on the floor. So that's a great thing that the Wizards did.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. See, ladies, we came up with some things that are going well.
Right. There are some
I knew we could do it. I knew we could do it. If you look really hard, you can find the bright spots. The Nets are stepping up. We have an off-season addition that is stepping up, and they did, in fact, extend some of our younger guys. So that's all great stuff.
Yeah.
Now, we have to get into the very dim part of this conversation.
Oh no!
This is the part we can go on and on about, but
Can we just skip over that part?
We're gonna keep it real with y'all in just a minute. And in terms of keeping it real, we're gonna go to the Russell Westbrook clip, and here's what he had to say after Saturday night's loss to the Orlando Magic.
With them, but I know for us, we didn't put ourselves in position to win the game, especially myself. So. Gotta do a better job, man. Just, sticking with it. But it starts with me. This one on me, though, bullshitting around, missing easy shots. It wasn't nothing they did.
So that response was in a question was asked to him. So it was in response to one of the media members asking about what the Orlando Magic did for the Wizards to come up with that L on Saturday. And Westbrook simply, they didn't do anything. While Westbrook is carrying the weight on his shoulders, we were all being very honest. It wasn't just a Westbrook challenge. It was a team challenge. We saw it across the board, the missing of easy shots. The turnovers. That was Saturday. We saw it on opening night. We saw it last night as well. In terms of what's going wrong, I'm going to tell you all something. I'm having a challenge with Scott Brooks. Let me just get it on out and get.
Scott, you're in the hot seat with Candi.
So are the fans.
Trust me, they're very upset.
I'm telling you, I'm having a challenge. And here's why, because we're seeing some of the same things that we've seen in the past. These fourth quarter meltdowns, I call it a meltdown.
They are meltdowns.
Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah. What happened? I'm going to be honest. Yesterday was a very long day, but they lost a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter.
And why was Brad still sitting on the bench, right?
Right.
Why did they put Thomas Bryant
on the bench?
Yeah.
And Thomas Bryant.
They were all, and going back to Saturday night with NATO, he was hot. He had the hot hand Saturday. You didn't play him the entire second half. Like, what is up with these heavy guard rotations and stuff that just doesn't make sense? At times, it comes off as Scott Brooks does not know who he's going to play. It's like, do you know which rotation is working? Do you understand your opponent and who is on the court right now and who are the best matchups? It doesn't look like it. And that's what it looks like is happening. They're playing absolutely no defense. Now, I have to admit, I did tweet on opening night that I saw glimpses of defense because that's what I thought I saw. But on Saturday and Sunday this past weekend, I said, where did it go? It vanished. What is happening? It's looking like the same old Wizards, you guys. And I don't like how that feels. So I'm going to go the other way around. Bree, what do you think is going wrong here?
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of what you were saying, Candi, and how we were all talking about Scott Brooks, it was unfortunate. Like one of the early press conferences that we had with Scott Brooks when Russell had his first practice with the team, and Scott Brooks told us that Westbrook went up to him and was like, hey, you're running the same plays that we did back in OKC. And Scott Brooks kind of like laughed it off, but all of us were like,
what's funny about that?
Right.
Excuse me?
Funny. That wasn't a joke.
Like,
It was
Right.
joke.
That's a problem because that means that every player that he coached before now knows all of these same routines that the Wizards are doing now. Like, that's not okay. So, and then I was going to say that, effort is part of a negative that is happening with the team, but also it goes back to what you were saying, Candi, about the matchups and all of that. Maybe it's just that the lineups are just not right. And so that's why the effort is not aligning as well. So it's just a lot of mishaps and miscommunication going on.
Mishaps and miss everything. Carita, what do you think is going wrong here?
So I do want to piggyback really quick on the lineup situation because you can't, in my opinion, experiment with lineups in a game, especially when you have lineups that are working. So why are we abandoning lineups that are working to experiment with other lineups? Because that is how Orlando capitalized on that 17-point lead that the Wizards had. They were able to eat into it because there was a lineup on the floor that was not working. And that's a coaching thing. So Scott Brooks is on the hot seat slightly a little early in the season. So that's one thing. My other thing that's going wrong is Russell Westbrook had a triple-double 2 nights in a row. Like Becca said, Bradley Beal had over 30 points in all of his showings for the most part, and we're still putting up L's. So that means there's not enough help around them to get us a W. And that is on top of everything else that we've already mentioned, like the effort and everything. And then I'll just say, no, Rui is definitely showing itself to be a weakness for the Wizards. I'll be even more worried, I should say, if Rui comes back and we're still in the situation. So
let us pray.
that's what's going wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah. All the way back. Becca, what do you think is going wrong?
Oh my gosh. I'll be here all night, but if I could
Only a couple
piggyback,
minutes, Becca. Only a couple minutes.
I only have a minute limit, so I gotta talk fast, you guys. I wrote this down because I was heavily offended by their free throw as a team's their free throw percentage.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you this. Sixers against the Sixers, they had 69.6% free throw shooting. Magic game 1, 53.6%, which is absurd. And the third game, they didn't do too bad, 84.6. I'll take that. But what really bothers me is also they fouled the Magic players way too much yesterday. The Magic players got to the line 38 times and made 37 shots. So that's 37 points that you guys just gave to the Magic, which is crucial, a problem because we already struggle on the defensive end. So, I mean, shoot. And they only fouled us, we only had 13 attempts. So, the fact that that's going on, I think Candi said the turnovers, We've had, 19, I believe it was 19 the first game, and then it was like 13, 14 for the next 2 games, which is fine. But, these they really got to tighten it up defensively. I've seen flashes of defense. I think they haven't completely turned away from it, and I think they're more motivated quarters 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth quarter, it's like they all kind of disappear. And last thing, I'm like talking super fast because I know I don't have enough time. I'm gonna be here all night. Brooks and his rotations are extremely questionable. I don't think that he uses his noggin when it comes to certain things, like putting 3 guards into the rotation and then having Neto guard Markelle Fultz. Like, Markelle Fultz is so much bigger than Neto. Like, what are you doing? And, it's just, I could go on, but I mean, we've said it all already. So let's go back to the good stuff. I'm kind of over this.
That's why we tried to start with the good stuff. We tried to start. It's like, do you want the good news first or the bad news? Let's start with the good news on this one. But
I need therapy.
Listen, already we're 3 games in.
The Wizards.
What is happening here? So listen, Carita asked Scott Brooks a question last night. You all take a listen to his response here.
Carita?
Coach, going back to the 0-3 start, at this point, how do you keep guys' spirits up? Because it is still early in the season, but like you said, not how you wanted to start.
Yeah, I mean, it's early. It's early in the season. We got a lot of work ahead of us and a lot of season ahead of us. It doesn't feel good, trust me. We had opportunities to win all 3 games. We came away nothing. And this team is about winning, and we didn't do it. So I mean, it's on me, but we'll figure it out. Like I said, a lot of season left. Guys got to just keep fighting and keep improving, and obviously Russell will come back next game. Rui will come back soon after that. And, then we can, I think it can help our fourth quarters.
The first game, if you guys remember the first game, we were on the media call and Scott Brooks came up after the loss to the Sixers and he's like, there's no moral victories. And I'm like, that's the spirit, Scott. You're absolutely correct. No moral victories. Right. Then they go this weekend and lay this egg, right? And then this question, which was so important, 0-3. We always hear it's a long season. But I'm going to ask the question of, should everyone be panicking? My answer to that question is yes. I think there is need to panic because there's been movement. There's been additions. I've already seen the fans going off. The Wizards lost the trade. They're asking for Scott Brooks to be out of here. I understand all of that, but based on the moves that have been made, we should not be seeing the same old Wizards. So my question to my colleagues and co-hosts here is, should we be panicking? Should the team be panicking? I'm going to start with Becca because she started off. I think we already know Becca's answer because she was booing.
Oh my God. Well, okay. This is going to sound a surprise, but first of all, yes, as Wizards fans, we should always be panicking. I mean, seriously. But also, I would say no, not yet, just because it is way too early in the season for the freak out. You know what I mean? It's been 3 games. I know it looks like it's going to be the same thing, which it might be. It might be the same thing that's always happened in previous seasons. However, Westbrook has not had enough time to play with Brad and Brad with Westbrook. And we've got some really young guys, like this might take some time. Like half the season might be really bad and we might just have to roll with it, but it might be rewarding later on. But as far as Brooks' press conference, I definitely was not impressed. Only because it's like I felt like he was kind of giving us the runaround, like I feel like this is the same thing that's been happening. So it's like, okay, Scotty, like we got your guy over here, we've got, pieces for you to work with, like what gives? So I'm going to say yes and no.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's yes and no, because right now a lot of teams are still figuring things out. We're not the only team that's struggling right now. There's a lot of teams, that have a lot going on. So yeah, so it's like a yes and a no. But we'll have to see what happens Tuesday night, because I think once this team together gets a win underneath their belt, we should see like, okay, now we're moving. The momentum should pick up. But if it's another loss on Tuesday,
it's gonna get scary.
Yeah.
It's gonna get wild on Twitter.
Very much so. It's already wild on Twitter. So
I can't.
Hashtags are already starting. But for me, I don't know if we should panic, but we should be extremely concerned. And the reason I asked that question to Coach Brooks is because none of these guys, none of us, not the fans, with the additions, thought that they would be off to an 0-3 start. This team should be 2-1 right now. I don't care what nobody says. They should be at least 2-1 at this point. Yeah. They should have won that 76ers game. It's hard to beat the same team 2 nights in a row, but they should have beaten them once. You lost. So make adjustments. And they came out hot in that first quarter as well, if you think about
Phenomenal.
it. Yeah, phenomenal. And they just can't finish. I'm concerned with the fact that they can't finish because they are showing that they can play well.
Right.
They get these leads, but they can't finish. So what's going to change that? I don't know if going through the season is going to change that. I mean, that seems to be another issue that I can't identify at this point in time. Well, defense, my bad. I can identify it. But at the end of the day, I would be extremely concerned.
Yeah, I mean, they're messing with my prediction that they were going to be 5th in the East. I'm sick of it already. Let me stop. But I mean,
there's still time.
There's still plenty of time. And and I'm just anticipating, I'm hoping with Westbrook's veteran experience, he says, listen, coach, let's get this right.
I see him on the sidelines, talk like being really in the players' faces and in talking to Scott Brooks too. So I just hope that Scott Brooks is open and listens and is like, okay, maybe I don't know all the answers. Maybe
Yep. Because
Russell Westbrook, get your mans.
But I do want to point out with Brad though, we saw a difference. Like when they lost to Orlando 76ers, there was like optimism there, right? In the press conference. Last night, his spirits were completely shot after that second loss to Orlando. So that's why I'm also concerned. I mean, there was I didn't hear the optimism.
Yeah.
He was pissed.
And I mean, you guys brought up a great point earlier. I think, Carita, you said it. It's Brad has said, we all talked about Brad, but in terms of his points and what he's putting out there on the court, with Brad showing up in all NBA form, as far as I'm concerned, and with Russell Westbrook's back-to-back triple doubles and still coming up with these L's, something is off here. Something is terribly off. Yeah. And getting into the next set of games. Next up, the Wizards have the Bulls. They have 2 games against the Bulls this week. The Bulls are looking for their first win. So they're a team that's figuring it out, right? But the reality is somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. And the Wizards better not be the ones that's losing. We're going to let the Bulls deal with that mess in Chicago. We really don't want to be having to deal with that here in D.C. And then they have the Timberwolves. And then they got Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie Sage on Sunday. I'm not trying to battle against the Sage.
You better sage our locker room because we need it.
Plus some of that sage.
We need Kyrie, or he could even sage their stadium because we still need
something
in the visitor locker room. Yeah.
100%.
So we will see what is to come this week. More to come. Hopefully, more positives the
They
next.
got to win some games in that stretch. They got to win at least 2 of those games.
Yes, for certain, for certain. Now, Carita, I'm going to turn it over to you to go through what's going on in the NBA.
Yeah, here we are, our second W, what's going on? And we're going to start off positive with some positive Wizards news. So we're going back to the positivity. And
Love to see
Russell
it.
Westbrook, he had his first holiday event in DC, and it was impromptu. And it wasn't an impromptu event, but what was impromptu is that he took the rookies with 2 of the rookies with him, which was very cool. And a lot of people were concerned about would he do as much in the community as John? And it looks like he's off to a good start. So let's take a look.
It's a given season, most importantly, doing times like this, and super excited to be able to get back. Hey, what's up, y'all? Russell Westbrook here. I'm here at another Christmas event. I'm excited, super blessed to be able to get back to the community once again.
Thank you, Westbrook! Yay!
The impact to be able to connect with community members, youth, inner city is very, very important and close to my heart because this is where I grew up. I grew up in the inner city and been able to wake up on Christmas morning and be able to have a gift or a new pair of shoes or backpacks, whatever it was. You were blessed to be able to have that. So I feel like this platform has allowed me to be able to do that, and I'm going to try to find ways to be able to bless other people's families and other people's Christmas as well. I definitely will be doing more events in DC and try to find ways to be able to make things impactful, inspiring, regardless of the season, regardless if it's a holiday or not. Try to find ways to connect with good groups, good people that want to impact our youth and impact our communities.
Thank you!
Shout out to the Washington.
That was great. Great to see him out in the community so quickly. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was really great to see.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I know a lot of folks were loving it. Westbrook just got here. He just got to the city, and he made sure he still carried through with his charity work and his community involvement right here in DC. It didn't matter whether he just got here. He was just like, hey, this is what I do, and this is what I'm going to keep doing where I am now. So was very appreciative of what he did.
Yeah, and that was the first thing he said when he got here in his actual press conference. He said he was already talking to organizations and looking at organizations that he could connect to. So he's clearly a man of his word when it comes to his community work, and we saw him out there strong. So shout out to Russ.
And he had just dropped his new sneakers, and all of those kids got a pair of them.
Yeah,
that's an amazing.
Like, Russ, if you're listening, we could also benefit from some. You know what I'm saying? Like the media, we gotta get hooked up. You know,
those sneakers are nice. They are nice.
They are. They're so nice.
Some sneakers our way. Well, on a not so positive note, but luckily this has nothing to do with the Wizards.
Oh, good.
Not us.
And Mavs, they played. Y'all know what happened. They were trailing 50 points at halftime, 77-27. But I'm not going to put it into words because we have this clip from First Take that explains it all.
The Kawhi-less Clippers going down in history yesterday for all the wrong reasons. Dallas set an NBA record with a 50-point lead at the half over the Clippers. That is the largest in NBA history, period. Final score, 124-73. Here's PG-13 after the game.
It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, we got our butts kicked today. But, you know, it's one game. I think we'll just take what we need to take away from today and go to the next one. We wasn't ready today. We wasn't prepared, not from the plan, but just from us being ready to go. And that's on me. And so, you know, we'll be ready for the next game.
So there were a lot of great things PG said in that clip. But the biggest thing that I have a problem with is he said it's not a big deal.
Right.
Yes, it's a huge deal. Like they ended that game losing 124-73, a 51-point loss. Like that's a big deal. You made history, as they said, for all the wrong reasons.
More ways than one.
Responsibility for it. Right. I like that he took responsibility for it and said they'll be ready next time. But saying it's not a big deal, wrong answer.
Yeah, that's terrible. Because imagine if
you feel about that.
I mean, imagine if Brad had said that after one of our games. People would have been like,
I would have been so done.
You would have his Twitter would have ate him up.
right.
Twitter would have ate me up. Whenever the team does bad, they attack me. And I'm like, they're like, tell Scott Brooks this. I'm like, oh my God. But you're right, Carita. I just want to say, like, Paul George saying it's not a big deal. I mean, y'all made history. Like the biggest halftime lead before this was in 1991 when the Warriors played the Kings and the Warriors beat the Kings. But at halftime, the Warriors were up 47 points. So 47 and now 2020, they're up 50 something. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you made history, Paul George, whether you like it or not.
The wrong side of history.
The wrong side of history.
And the fact that this was a game without Kawhi, of course, and so this was his chance to really just show them, like, look, all y'all talking all that smack about how I just signed this deal, like that, But the fact that at halftime they were down 50, and then by the end of the game they lost by 51, like
it's terrible.
I was just like in disbelief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really sad because I'm not saying you couldn't have lost the game. You could have lost, just not by 51. You didn't have to be down by 50 at the half. I'm not saying you had to win, but my gosh.
Yeah. Catch up a little bit.
In his post game that they were so sluggish from Christmas.
Well,
that's like
too many cookies.
It's like you must have been asleep all Christmas, because that is absolutely ridiculous. That is not an excuse. And Kendrick Perkins on First Take, he said his biggest problem was like that they didn't even fight back. Like he just didn't feel like they were fighting back. And clearly they were not fighting back enough if they lost by that much. And then Ty Lue, I feel kind of bad for him. He took over as Clippers coach, and
that's rough.
This is a rough start. Extremely rough start.
It is. And it just looks bad because it's like, you want Ty Lue to win again. You want this. And it's a lot of changes with their team, and Paul George apparently didn't get along with Doc from last time, from him talking about that. So, for him to start fresh now, and then it's like for this to happen,
already a rough start.
We need Kyrie to go on a road trip with this save.
Right. Everywhere he goes.
Everybody needs it.
He needs to come to my place.
Including the Rockets. The Houston Rockets. This is another team that is off to a little bit of a rocky start. They were supposed to play their season opener against OKC, and that game was postponed because there were some someone tested positive on the team, but then there were close contacts that had to be quarantined, 4 of them. And let me get all the names. So we know John Wall, he's a part of that quarantine, DeMarcus Cousins, also Eric Gordon and Mason Jones. Also that same particular day, the NBA said that there were 3 inconclusive tests. So that was pretty much 7 members of their team who were out. On top of that, we had James Harden, who was ineligible to play because of the photo circulating of the fact that he was out at a private event, which breaks COVID guidelines. And this is the photo that was circulating all over social media. And then Harden responded on IG, and he said essentially that he was not at a strip club, which is what it was allegedly where he was, but he was at a private event. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you were. You shouldn't have been in a situation where you were in a gathering, because that does break COVID guidelines. He was fined $50,000. So ultimately, the Rockets didn't have enough people to play, and they had to postpone the game. Also, the first game impacted by COVID. Ladies, let me get your thoughts on this. We'll start with Miss Becca.
Yeah, that just not cool, Harden. I know the other night he did play and he did score 44 points in the Rocket home opener, and he did get 17 assists, but I don't care. You're messing with John Wall, and John Wall's our guy. You're messing with the whole team, and it's just embarrassing. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. I'm kind of like, I'm bummed for Rockets fans, because it seems like the team hasn't had like a fair start to the season, and even though it is difficult, like on some levels, we all want our lives to go back to normal. And for some reason, for James Harden, that's the strip club, or I'm sorry, his friend's birthday party, whatever. But it just ridiculous. I mean, you have to follow the rules.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we've seen it have a ripple effect in the NFL. Hopefully that doesn't happen in the NBA with COVID, but being out where you shouldn't be is a surefire way to bring COVID back to your teammates. Luckily he did not. Bree, what about you?
Yeah, and it's like, this is not vacation time. Like, you're on the clock. Like, you're working right now. Like, you can't, and these are very different circumstances. It's not just you that can't do whatever you want. Everybody can't do whatever they want right now. So it's like, it's just, I don't want to put labels on him, but he's being selfish. It's like, you got to think about your team. Like, you're the leader of this Houston Rockets team, whatever happens in the future, if he's there, if he's not there, right now at this moment, you are a Houston Rocket. You have to play. And now it's like, you're putting yourself in these situations where not only can you just like not be able to play basketball, but it's a health concern, like COVID-19, like it's real. And so it's like, you can't just be out here just doing whatever and not even at least wearing a mask. Like, and you're taking pictures too. It's like, come on. Like, I don't know. I don't get that. Like, and I was listening to NBA radio and they were talking about it too. And it's like, Harden has a chance right now to make this team his team. Like, he has players, he has John, he has Cousins, he has Daniel House. Like, he has people on this team that are ready to get out there and put themselves out there and really put forth the effort. But it has to be a team thing. Like, they can't just always be out here like, well, we don't know why James is doing that. We don't like blah, 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 blah. Like, they shouldn't have to carry all of that extra weight on them while they're playing whenever they come back to play. But yeah, I don't know. James, just get it together, sir. Please, please.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to be careful because the guys who are quarantined, they were getting their hair cut, which you have to get a haircut. I get it. But like, when I go get my hair done, it's like one at a time. It's like your stylist. There's like another stylist with another person, but y'all all like, we all can't be in there together. So everybody has to be thoughtful and think about what you're doing. Candi, we'll finish off with you.
I think you guys have already touched on all of the points and thoughts that I have going through my head on this topic. I mean, this time it's hard on everybody. It's hard for everyone, like literally, especially during the holiday season, right? We're still in the holidays. So, but we have to do what's best for the greater good of everyone. And, when you see a player, here's the other thing too. It's like players always say, oh, well, now my name is in everybody's mouth, or they talking about me, or they're going to talk about you. Right. You already know that when you post that picture or you let someone take a picture of you and post it, that it's going to catch all types of headlines. You know this. So why even do it? Why even bring that attention to yourself? Send your homegirl a bouquet. Send her a gift. Send her whatever. But it's business time. Like Bree was saying, you're on the clock. It is what it is. This is the position that you're in because you are in my opinion, you're one of the best basketball players in the world. So all eyes are absolutely going to be on you, especially because of all the trade conversations. So your name is in headlights right now, James. It just is what that is. Stay home, okay?
Stay home. He's not helping with trade value right now either. But that's a story for another time. And that is the conclusion of our What's Going On segment. That's something that could have went on forever too, but we don't have that much more time left. So I'm going to hand it over to Becca to lead us in our Women in Sports segment.
So last week we picked Natasha Cloud for her advocate work. Shout out to Natasha Cloud. We love you. She's amazing. But this week I decided to kind of go backwards. You know how we recognize Natasha Cloud for her work during the summer. I want to recognize Sarah Fuller, Vanderbilt soccer player. She's a goalie. She played in football games recently, and as the kicker. Due to COVID-19, there wasn't anybody else available, and she stepped up. And to better explain this, let's play a clip to see how this panned out.
Out of that history-making event in sports, for the first time, a woman playing in a Power 5 college football game. Janae's here with more on Vanderbilt's Sarah Fuller. Good morning to you, Janae.
Eva, these are the kind of girl power stories we love. Last weekend, Sarah Fuller wasn't even on Vandy's football team. She was on the school's championship-winning soccer team, but she got the call this week going from goalkeeper to place kicker with yesterday's history-making moment.
Awesome moment. You can hear the crowd. Everybody understands what's happening right now. This is a pretty cool moment.
It's the history-making kick that even she didn't see coming.
It used to be like an insult, like, oh, you play like a girl. Like, no, you play like a girl. That is awesome. Then I want it to be that way.
Vanderbilt University, Sarah Fuller opening up the second half, becoming the first woman ever to play in any of the top 5 college football conferences.
Honestly, it's just so exciting. And the fact that I can represent like the little girls out there who wanted to do this or, thought about playing football or any sport, really.
After several players were forced to quarantine on the university's football team, they received a helping hand from their women's soccer team's top senior goalkeeper, just days after winning the SEC soccer championship.
When we start reaching these goals and like accomplishing these things that we didn't think were possible, is because you just put that little bit of extra effort in because things were just a little bit harder.
Breaking barriers and making a statement that female athletes should always be proud to play like a girl.
That was huge.
Yes.
I mean, being able to play in a football, first of all, she's not a football player, obviously, but the fact that she stepped in there and she took the call, that takes a lot of bravery. So I'm just amazed. And she played 2 games, and she was the first woman to make a kick in a Power 5 football game. So that's huge. Mm-hmm. So shout out to you, like girl power. Like, there's plenty of girls that want to play football. I've seen them on Twitter. I've seen news stories about them all the time. And the fact that she stepped up and she was able to do that, I mean, that's just amazing. What do you guys think about that?
I love the part where she said it used to be an insult, like, oh, you play like a girl. And that's no longer an insult these days. Like, I really love that part. And it's true. And I saw that she said she's no longer going to play football, which I don't blame her. She made history, so she's going to do that.
Retire gracefully.
Drop the mic, exit stage left. That's what she's going to do. But I absolutely love it and love what she said about playing like a girl and how that is cool now.
It's awesome. She is kicking, you know what, and I love it. Yes, that's all I have to
badass.
Look.
And like what she said, there's like what you guys were saying, there's a lot of women out there who want to play football or who love the sport. I mean, we even have a women's football team here in DC, DC Divas, and so like just seeing this on a huge platform and scale as what Fuller did, like that's great. Like, and just to be out there and like be next to these guys and be like, guess what? I'm the one that came through. And
you know what? They embraced her. She was like, the football players, when I came off the field, they were all like high-fiving her. They were excited. They were happy. And I think, there's always some stigma around women in sports, but I think they were very embracing of her, which was awesome. So
and that says a lot about a man too, like for you to open up your arms in that way as well. Like, don't put your pride into this. Like, she came to play, and that's what was important.
I mean, at the end of the day, them winning that game had to do with her making those kicks. Exactly. So put some respect on her name, as they did. But I'm going to say that to other people too, because there were still folks on social media talking that talk. So she proved herself. And it is what it is. She made history.
So shout out to you, Sarah Fuller. Thank you for showing everybody that you can be a total badass and you're a woman.
Yes.
We love to see it.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to our second episode of the Triple Dub podcast. We are so happy that you guys came back. Please send this out, refer other people, talk to us, follow us. We are on Instagram and on Twitter at Triple W Pod.
Yes, and make sure you follow each of us at our personal social medias. I'm at Carita C. Parks on all social media platforms.
Look, I have to always think about mine. I'm at Seawall Sports on Instagram. I'm at Seawall SE on Twitter, and I'm Seawall Sports and Entertainment on Facebook.
At Becca MVP, at Wizards Extra. You know the vibes. Do not come in my DMs acting like I'm the one to blame about Scott Brooks. That's the only time I'm gonna say that, or else you're gonna go on mute. Okay.
Right.
Stay out.
You can follow me at Vids by Bree. And yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right. See you guys.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays, and we'll see you in the new year.
Yes.
Cheers.